All right, everybody, it's me, Colton Johnson, with Colton's E-Ticket Adventure. And today's podcast, the Disney Johnson Bros podcast, we have our co-host, Cam Johnson, and we are joined with our older brother, Kade Johnson. And since he's new to the podcast, I am going to turn the time over to him to introduce himself and share with us his favorite ride in Disneyland Park and his favorite ride in Disney California Adventure, and share a significant story that involves Disneyland and why he loves Disney. And then we'll be back for today's topic. All right, go ahead, Gabe.
Hello. I am, like how my brother introduced, I'm Kade Johnson. And it's hard to choose one ride from Disney because I have a category of different lands of rides. But if I had to choose out of the whole year, I like Indiana Jones, and when it comes to the holiday season, I love the Haunted Mountain Holiday. And with California Adventure, it was a hard one to choose because they changed a lot. I like Guardians of the Galaxy Missing Breakout. When it was Tower of Terror, I used to be terrified of it, but not with Guardians, though. It's a thrilling, fun attraction. And the ride that is most...
Wait, Kate. Before we'll jump into that in a second. Okay. I want you to share significant story or experience of Disneyland or memory, and then why you love Disney in general.
Like a significant story that means well to me, that I enjoy the park for.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of hard. I kind of liked all the times when I went with the family. I think my favorite one so far was the recent trip we went on as a family, and I got to bring my wife Maya. And
well, if it's the story you're thinking of, we'll probably talk about it later in the episode.
Okay. But the reason why I love Disney so much, it just means so much to my family, and it pretty much shaped my personality today. Being part of Disney, enjoying Disney. I'm actually grateful that my parents introduced me to Disney.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. I apologize for the lack of communication on mine and Cam's part to get you part of this fun podcast that I decided to create, and Cameron jumped right on board, and it's going to be fun to hear your thoughts and experiences when it comes to Disneyland. So I asked I asked my two brothers, the Disney Johnson brothers, that's what we are, to think. We're talking about Disneyland. If I didn't make that clear, the topic is Disneyland. Last episode, we talked about DCA. This one's kind of going to be more organized because that one was kind of run the mill. We kind of just put it together last minute. We had to record it twice. So today's episode, it's basically, we're talking about Disneyland, like the 1955 original Walt's Magic Kingdom Disneyland. And so the challenge that I gave my two brothers and in myself is, though we have our favorite rides, we have rides that are significant to us or hold a very special meaning to us. And it might be our favorite ride, or it could be something completely different. So today we're going to talk about those rides, but also we'll just talk about Disneyland, share some fun stories that we have of Disneyland. We have a very funny story that we'll share later in the episode that I'm
We have
excited
a
for.
couple funny stories.
A couple funny stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since we haven't really heard much from Cam, I want you to start us and tell us about a special ride to you, and we'll maybe talk about that ride for a few minutes, jump around, and we can even say our thoughts. But I'll turn the time over to Cam. Tell us about your ride.
My ride is, well, I talked about it a little bit last week about my favorite ride at Disneyland, but it is Pirates of the Caribbean. You see the background. If you're listening to it, I have a picture of pirates behind me. Just letting you know. By the way, we are posting these on Spotify also now. So, clarify that. The reason why I love Pirates and why it's so simple, like super deep to me, is because it's just the earliest memories of Disneyland happened with Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's just the perfect attraction for Disneyland for me, because the line's always short, as long as you're not on a holiday, or and it smells beautiful. It's the best smelling ride at Disneyland. Right after going down Main Street, passing the sugary goods. But yeah, the reason why it's just having memories with my family and my grandparents, like mostly my grandpa and grandma, because that's a ride it's a small that you can hold a baby on it and go, this ride's gonna be amazing to you. It was. I love the fact that you go through a very themed entrance. That you see the restaurant Blue Bayou, and then you go down, and then you see a whole bunch of skeletons, like the now of what pirates are, extinct. And then you turn that corner. It used to be a mist thing of Davy Jones. I think it was Davy Jones from the Pirates movie, and now it's the illusion of a skeleton turning into a pirate, and that is one of the coolest things I have seen out of Disney Park. And then you just see a whole bunch of pirates, the Explore Adventure, and they updated recently, and that's a change that I thought I didn't like. But now, understanding that things change, it has not changed as my top favorite ride at Disney and my most deep desired ride. And also, I have ate at the Blue Bayou. The food's an experience. The experience is good about eating there, but the food is not the best.
Some people I've heard say that Blue Bayou is basically the Club 33 leftovers.
It's the Club 33 for the middle class.
Middle class Club 33, where you get to chill in the bayou and see boats pass you. I feel like that'd be cool. You get to smell the smells of pirates.
Get intoxicated from the boring smell.
The boream, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll share my thoughts on pirates, and then I'll have Kade share his thoughts on pirates. I love Pirates of the Caribbean, and if you have checked out my top 10, that's definitely one of my favorite rides at Disneyland Park. And I've had the opportunity to experience it not just at Disneyland, but also at Disney World. And I wouldn't say it's too much different, but you can tell that the Disneyland version is superior. I think the queue at Walt Disney World was incredible. It has more of like a fortress-esque queue, but I think that the Disneyland one, the classic, and it has a significant spot just because it was Walt Disney's last attraction that he put his hands towards. It was supposed to be the Wax Museum. And
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, it just has so much heart to it. And like you mentioned, anybody can ride it. And yes, it adds a little bit of thrill, a little bit of excitement. There's a little bit of spook to it, but there's also fun, jolly moments. Fun, jolly moments where you can sing along with the pirates. I love this attraction, and I can see why it's significant. And I have the faintest memory before they added all the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. There used to be a part where you're going up the lift hill at the very end, and there's pirates trying to hold the bag. I'm sure Cade might remember that when he was a kid.
Kind of.
Yeah. So,
pretty
Cade,
sure
tell
that's our
us,
mother's
tell us
favorite
your
scene.
thoughts of Pirates of the Caribbean.
My thoughts of Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, it's an enjoyable ride, and it has me remember fond memories with my papa. Like, it was his favorite ride. Every time he went on it, he would sing the songs, and he would always make us smile when he sings the songs when he were in the ride. And I was gonna say, with the smell, yes, it does have a good smell, but my favorite smell is still the Dole Whip stand in front of Tiki Room.
Oh, yeah, that's I can see why you like that. Yeah, and I feel like having those ties to our grandparents is really what makes this ride a very significant ride to all of us. So thanks, Cameron. Kate, have you thought of the ride that is significant to you, or do you want me to chime in with mine first?
Well, pretty much I did say Pirates because of our papa, but for me, I had a hard time. I have really a hard time choosing because I always remembered when we went to Disneyland a lot as kids. Most of the time, yes, we went towards Space Mountain, usually our first choice, but I would say like 80% of the time we would go straight to Fantasyland and ride those rides together. And that is my favorite, like, significant memories of going to Disneyland when I was a kid. And it was our mom's favorite land too.
So, is there a particular ride that you're thinking of?
If I would have to choose which one is more significant, I would say it's hard to say. Like, three come to mind.
I think we should all pick a ride each and talk about it, like what we love about fantasy as a whole. As
So should we?
ourselves.
Okay, should we go to each land?
Yeah, we could go to each land.
Okay, first let me share my ride because it seems like from what I'm getting, you guys had the same ride.
Yeah.
Okay, so my ride's different, and it's Star Tours. Star Tours is one of my favorite rides in Disneyland Park, and it was one of my favorite rides as a kid. Like, I have fond memories of before they changed it to the new Star Tours. Me and Cade would just hop on, like, we'd jump on the ride, and then we'd go back through the line and go on it again. And one time, I don't know if you remember this, Cade, they had us take the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had us take the elevator for some reason. And we were like, the heck? But
yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. But they were like, aren't you guys a little too young to be roaming around Disneyland by yourselves? But like, our parents were just chilling outside, like, the attraction. And you were about, I think, 10 or 11, and I was probably like 8 or 9.
But you could also think we've been going to Disneyland a lot, that we had a mental image of the map of Disneyland.
Oh yeah, I don't even. That's how I felt when I went to Disney World. I grew up watching all these videos and walkthroughs and all that, but like, when I went to Disney World, I didn't need a map. I knew where I was going. There was like some things that were a little confusing, but for the most part, it was pretty clear on where I was going. But yeah, Star Tours is my ride. Do you guys have any other thoughts on Star Tours?
Yes, I have a couple of thoughts on Star Tours because I only experienced Star Tours for the last couple of years of like the original, and then some of the new one. And I have to say, the old one just hits more like in the nostalgic feeling of like this is a Disney ride. This is a ride you go on at a Disney park. You sit down, you get immersed into the atmosphere and stuff, and just I miss that droid Rex. I miss that boy. He was the man. I know you can see him at the Ogres at Cantina and the back too, but me, I just like him. I love just all about that droid.
But
Next time I go, I'll get. Yep.
you could still he's still there if you know where to look, and he's still
Yeah.
his famous cat's place.
Yeah, he's in the queue still.
I know he's doing the queue, but it's just I love C-3PO, but the fact of having the famous what's it called? The famous Rex droid. Yeah.
Yeah.
My man.
That's my favorite of Star.
And also the smell of Star Tours is great too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's actually one of the things I was going to mention, but I completely spaced it. Like Pirates has an iconic smell, Haunted Mansion has an iconic smell, but there's like a specific smell of Star Tours, and I don't know what it is.
What I think it is, it's the smell of like you wish a vacuum smelled like.
Like a clean vacuum.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like
that's pretty out there smell.
Stardust?
Stardust, sure. Kade, what are your thoughts on Star Tours before we move on? And I think we'll go land by land. But share us your thoughts on Star Tours, and then we'll jump into this next thing.
My favorite, like Star Tours 2, me is a fun attraction. Yeah, sometimes especially you get that butterfly feeling, even though it's not like a roller coaster. And I say, yeah, the first one does have heart because it is the original, but they did an amazing job, and they always are updating the new one. And thing I also love about Disneyland and whole, like any Disney park, they know how to do Easter eggs from their old attractions. Like still keeping Rex part of the ride, even though it's just in the line as a cameo. It hits well with fans.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so we'll start this journey to Disneyland Park, going through the front gates into Main Street. And the thing about Main Street, it has a special feel, and it's supposed to make you think that you were in the age of sort of the turn of the century America. And it was kind of based around Walt Disney's childhood town of Marceline, Missouri. There's not really any, I mean, there's the Disneyland Railroad, which that's all significant to us. And there's the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which
Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln.
Which that's a funny story that I can share. So I'll share that. And so last time we went to Disneyland, it was actually my wife's first time going to Disneyland. She'd been to Magic Kingdom at Disney World because that's where we went on our honeymoon. But we were kind of waiting for the rest of the family to join us to go ride rides. And so it was me, Cameron, our little sister, Cameron's wife. Well, they were just boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. And then our little sister. I don't know if I mentioned that. And so we're like, the park's open. Like, what else can we do? So we're like, Cameron and I looked at each other and we're like, Lincoln. Let's do Lincoln. So we went and did Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. And I love Mr. Lincoln. I think
Me too.
it's innovative. It was the first human audio animatronic, and there was an attraction that was there during the 50th of Disneyland that stuck around for several years after that. But it was the magical 50th years with Steve Martin.
They are my favorite film of Main Street.
Yeah, and they used to actually play it, but I just looked it up the other day, and they no longer play it because they play Once Upon a... Well, currently it's closed because they're adding the Walt presentation that they're going to have part of the show. But they actually started playing Once Upon a Studio, which is a great short.
It's an amazing short.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's one of the attractions. But it was just funny that we went and did Mr. Lincoln, because it's not something that you would rope drop, but we did. And
it's a good air conditioning area.
Oh, yes. But I mean,
and also a good troll. It's also a good troll.
Oh, it's definitely a good troll. It actually made our little sister cry. She'll probably be on a future episode, but which will kind of.
All I could say from the situations, we made 2 Disney adults leave the theater.
Yep.
Oh no.
We won't talk about that story, but there's stuff to that.
Yeah, we were kind of rowdy when it came to our experience. When people were trying to pay their respects to Abraham Lincoln, we were just
my now wife is Australian, and she didn't know nothing about Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, so it was quite the experience.
Yeah.
Kade, what's your thoughts on Main Street? Just Main Street in general.
Oh, Main Street in general?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sight, especially at night.
Oh, yeah.
And it has a good view to the castle at the end. And also the smells really get you. It makes you feel that you're in that like Main Street town.
Yeah. Churros, hot dogs, corn dogs, ice cream.
Attention,
everything.
Please.
It's almost like they want your wallets to jump out of your pocket to make purchases right as
7
you're
in the
walking
morning
into the park. You have to watch. It's like almost you have to walk a quarter of a mile to. I don't think it's actually a quarter mile.
Disney, it's literally like the wall jumps out of the pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Main Street. I mean, there's the Disneyland Railroad, which that's classic, and we all love that. But that's kind of a whole park attraction, so I don't think we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the hub. Where are we going? And I know Kate said we usually jump to Fantasyland, but I like to go Clockwork and go to Adventureland. Do we want to? So, Cameron, your idea was talking about a different ride. Did you want each of us to choose a ride, or us pick one ride in the land?
We should just. I don't know. The Adventureland has 3 attractions.
We can each choose 3 attractions.
I think I should do the Tiki Room due to the fact of I am the Tiki Room baby.
Oh, true.
Joyful.
Okay, then I get Indiana Jones.
And
that's
Kay gets
Disneyland.
He gets Jungle Cruise.
And you get Jungle Cruise because you like animals.
Fair enough.
Okay, let's start at Tiki Room because.
Wait, Cameron, Kade was saying something.
What, Kade?
Oh, I said fair enough for my choice.
Oh, okay. All right. Start us off, Cam.
Okay, the Enchanted Tiki Room. Walt Disney's animatronic bridge show should be restaurant. Hot take.
I don't think we're going into the history. If you want to see the history, go check out this video and the link in the description below.
Exactly. That's what I was about to go to.
Oh, okay.
So, reason why I love the Tiki Room. It's because I would not exist if the Tiki Room didn't exist. That is connection. And also, I love pineapple dough whips. The pineapple dough whips are amazing. Even though I have a slight allergy to pineapple, if someone hand me a dough whip, I'm like, okay, I'll still eat it. And just, I was also scared of the Tiki Room as a child. The ones on top of like the shelf looking things with the beats the drums. I was terrified that until I probably was like 12.
You're
I was
not
scared of the masks on the wall.
No, the mask on the wall, my buddies.
Okay.
But it's just it's just a beautiful area. It has themes of Polynesian culture and stuff. And Polynesian culture is like I'm very big into Polynesian culture due to what places I have been in the water and stuff. And it's just a great attraction to be with a family. Good air conditioning. You can also eat in the show. Not a lot of experience at Disneyland you can eat while being there. And also it has a good how to have a good bathroom inside. That's all I can say.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on the Tiki Room?
Well, like with Cameron, I was scared of certain scenes of it, like the birds. No, but I used to be scared of the totem pole tikis, the entire tiki area, and also the flowers. Especially
I thought you were gonna say the fountain.
I mean, that makes sense because, like, if you think about it, like birds, I mean, you don't see birds talk, but like birds aren't that bizarre to see. Seeing flowers jump up and go la 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 la, like
no, just sing a bird of paradise. Like have you seen the picture of the bird?
Being terrifying.
Especially if
have you seen the
sit right under them and they go down and you see the flowers talk. That could scare any little kid.
Yeah, little 5-year-old me is like, oh no!
All right.
Sacrifice!
Okay. I think actually, and for time purposes, we'll talk about, I think talking about one ride per land, but talking about the feel of the land too. I think Adventureland is, I mean, it's the land of adventure, and it just has that like rustic, I don't know if rustic's a good word, but I just love the feeling that you get when you're walking and you hear the drum sounds and you hear animal sounds from the distance. There's the Jungle Cruise and there's Indiana Jones. I think it's a wonderful land. And then that takes us to New Orleans Squares, which
I have
one
more thing to tell about Adventureland before we head to the next land.
Okay, sure, Kate.
So, like I noticed that they like most lands have like popcorn and churros, but Adventureland does not because they want to keep that feel of a smell of a jungle, and popcorn and pretzels and churros would take away from it.
I would take a bacon wrapped asparagus over a pretzel any day at Disneyland.
Or a pineapple flip.
Ooh,
I can't eat upon it.
See, I'm personally not a fan of pineapple Dole Whip. My wife loves pineapple Dole Whip. I know Kade loves pineapple Dole Whip.
Oh yeah.
You particularly like the pineapple Dole Whip with like the juice, don't you?
It's called the pineapple Dole Whip float.
Okay.
I remember you like my allergy.
I love floats.
Okay, we're gonna travel up into New Orleans Square, which we already talked about Pirates of the Caribbean. And so let's just talk about the land. This was the first new land, more to say, added to Disneyland, and it's so immersive. Like, I mean, you have Galaxy's Edge, which is beautiful, but there's something so special about going to all the recreated streets of New Orleans Square and jumping in through like the little shops. I think it just has so much character to it.
And it's probably because it was pretty much the last land that Walt Disney had a part in.
Yeah.
That
It
could
also has
do.
like amazing food.
Oh, true.
Beignets.
I can't wait to try out uh Tiana's Palace. I wonder what food they have there. Also, beignets. So good. I love.
Mint juleps too. I like the mint julep.
I don't. I tried them last trip, and I'm not a fan, but I do want me some beignets.
I was sad last trip when I was not able to go to get a beignet and a mint julep due to I was sick. But
I
my
don't think
thoughts
I'm
on
favorite food in New Orleans Square though. Nothing cats out to me.
Yeah.
my experience with New Orleans Square is it is a great area just to sit down and it's more like just a take in the environment area. But there's great rides also like Pirates, Haunted Mansion, the train clicking noise. 1 second, I like the train clicking noise. But just one of the most beautiful areas of part of Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to say, Cade?
I say my favorite part of New Orleans Square is the alley, looking through the alleyways of New Orleans Square. And during the holiday season when Haunted Mansion becomes Haunted Mansion Holiday.
Yeah, of course you'd say that. And I think one of my favorite parts of the land too is just seeing the rivers of America. I think the rivers of America is beautiful, especially seeing Phantasmic, because New Orleans Square is usually like the place where you can watch Phantasmic, and yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's only a place where you get a view of it.
Yeah, a good view too. I mean, there's a little
Also,
bit of land, but
also they're changing up parts of New Orleans Square in the next year or so. They're working on
That's
right now,
true.
like the Haunted Mansion refurb they're doing with the
queue.
disability access point and the new gift shop. I think it is.
Yeah,
And then they're adding the whole world. This is gonna be when we move into Critter Country, or
Yep.
now new. What's it called now?
It's Bayou Country, which I don't think it's. I mean, it hasn't officially shifted the name to Bayou Country yet. Like,
But
I'm
it's gonna catch on. Like people call it's gonna catch on.
Yeah, it's
only
I mean, I'm fine with the name. I was a little hesitant, but like it's kind of it is what it is. But you just be home to one of my favorite attractions, which Splash Mountain. Moment of silence.
Moment of wet socks.
That's true. See, the thing is when we went last time, I was so excited to ride Splash Mountain. I was going to ride it as many times as I can. And I think I only rode it once.
Same.
I rode it twice.
I got soaked and I said, I'm good. I can watch it on YouTube.
I rode it twice that trip. And one time, I think it was when as people were doing stuff, and I had to go by myself because I think Bethany was also doing stuff with the guys. And I rode it a second time. I didn't get wet that time. I actually regret it because I had no one else riding it with me.
I actually have
the family.
I actually remember a funny story. Well, I don't think it's funny, but it's still a story no less with Splash Mountain.
What is it?
It was, you probably remember, it was nearly closing and we were riding Splash Mountain and no one was in line. So they would go again and again. But if they wanted us to go again, we had to go through the line, but there was no one in line.
Well, didn't they just let us stay in the boat?
Yeah, they let us stay in the log.
Yes.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, I think we ended up riding it at least 4 times.
Wait, was it just us three, or was it us three and Dad?
It was us three and Dad.
Yeah, and I think we rode it like at least 4 times in a row because it was during either the fireworks or Phantasmic, which was also one of the best times to ride it.
It's definitely anywhere in that area.
I'm pretty sure we instantly regretted afterwards after our feet were wet.
Well, it was one of the last rides of the day, like,
Yeah.
and so it wasn't too bad, but those were some fond memories. And there's also, I think yeah, like Critter Country, or soon to be Bayou Country, it's a cute little land, and it has Winnie the Pooh, which is a fun little ride.
And it has the Hungry Bear restaurant and
I
one of
don't
the best
think I've
bathrooms.
ever eaten at the Hungry Bear.
I never ate a Hungry Bear, but I know I have used that restroom multiple times.
Oh, 100%. We all have.
Yeah, it's one of the restrooms we go to before Critter Country or after Critter Country.
Yeah.
But Pooh Bear, it has a special place in my heart. That it's my favorite dock ride out of all of this. What's so funny?
Nothing. That's okay. I'd say, like, the second you said, well, I was talking about the restrooms, you went straight to Pooh Bear. Am I blaming the real life?
Yeah. Oh man.
I was thinking,
That was a
I was
weird-
thinking,
that-
I was
that was a
taking
good-
this was so bad. I'm like, what?
Man.
Okay, Kate, finish your thought.
But yeah, Winnie the Pooh Bear, it is like my childhood cartoon character that the story is that when I was a baby, to calm me down, my parents had to sing the theme song all the time to make me quiet. So that's why Pooh Bear is my favorite dog ride. So yeah.
Nice. All right, I'm trying to decide because on time.
I think we should save Galaxy Edge for another time. But just
that's what I'm
just
thinking.
If the viewers are enjoying this, we could do a part 2.
That's true.
I think we should talk about Frontier's not a big land. We should talk about Frontier, then we should talk about Fantasyland, then Tomorrowland. And I think then we have a final discussion. And then yeah.
I agree. What do you think, Cade?
Yeah.
And then Two Town can get its own video.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And we have tons of memories just in Toontown.
Yeah. So we'll jump over to Frontierland, the other side of the rivers of America. And I think Frontierland is probably one of the most slept on lands in Disneyland. Like, you have to go through it to get to a lot of different places. But it has one of the best roller coasters in the park, which is Big Thunder Mountain.
No.
It has
one of the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Yes, the wildest ride in the wilderness. And I love so like we'll probably do a whole other video or podcast episode talking about the best rides to ride at night. But if there's any ride in the park that is so much better at night, especially during the fireworks or Phantasmic, it's Big Thunder Mountain, hands down. I think even the fireworks make it even better, especially because you're in like a mining roller coaster, and like just hearing the boom, 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 I think makes it so much better.
Especially when the theme is when you get to the TNT pod and you hear the boom of the fireworks.
Especially like I love the main Disneyland fireworks because they used to have they had like a segment from each land, and I'm pretty sure there's like a Frontierland part that would be like perfectly timed. That would be an experience of all experiences. After that, I don't know what other Disney experience they could have.
My favorite experience of Frontierland is not Big Thunder, to be honest. It is the Golden Horseshoe restaurant. I just love that just building. It's just a classic Disney area that used to have a great show. I think I only seen it once in my life, the Golden Horseshoe show. But it's
I
just
don't
a
think
good
they
area
do
to go to.
anymore.
They don't, and it's
Yeah.
sad.
What I-
It's a waste of potential.
It was like the Golden Horseshoe Review or something like that.
Well, what I enjoy about Frontierland, yes, it has an amazing ride, a Big Thunder, but it has a lot of Easter eggs from an old attraction before Big Thunder scattered around the entire land, even the rivers of America.
That's true. All right. Well, we'll jump into our next land, the land of all lands, Fantasyland. I love Fantasyland. I think Fantasyland has so much magic to it. And then, like Cade mentioned earlier, it's one of those lands. I remember the last time we went, that was like we went to Fantasyland first. So Fantasyland is perfect at 2 times a day. It is perfect in the morning. You can ride everything within the first hour or so of park opening, or 2, right after the fireworks, because they reopen all the rides in Fantasyland that are closed during the fireworks, and you get to, there's like no lines.
Especially if you want to ride Peter Pan.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Peter Pan-
that's still an hour wait after the park opens for some reason. No one's in line. It's still an hour wait.
See, just talking about Disneyland versus what we talked about California Adventure, there's just so much there and so much to talk about. It just
I
makes
love
me
talking about California. I still love California Adventure more.
Yeah, of course you do. You're like the California Adventure guy.
Since we are in Fantasyland, should we tell the story of the It's a Small World?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry.
We'll get there, Cade.
But yeah, I love. I mean, Peter Pan is my personal favorite in Fantasyland. I have fond memories of riding that, and I just like the cute little Fantasyland dark rides. I just think they're so much fun and so magic. What's your favorite ride, Cam, in Fantasyland?
Oh, Cade knows this. I know this. You probably don't know. I love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That's my all-time, like, not count my favorite dark ride, because if you don't count, it's Smallwood and what's it called? It's a Smallwood and Pirates of the Caribbean as dark rides. My pick goes to Mr. Toad's because it is the last paper cutout, like cardboard, like, no, how do you call it? Plywood.
Plywood cutouts. Yeah.
Plywood cutout dark ride. And it also has one of the best endings of a dark ride. You go to, I don't know if we could say this on a podcast. I'll just say down there. I don't want to get you to get demonetized.
The classic HE devil hockey stick.
Yeah. It has a lot of like good thing. And also when you're a little kid, having that little steering wheel like and then it's also a short ride.
It's almost like Indiana Jones Jr.
I would say for Toad,
go crazy.
Toad is a good ride if it's a super cold day outside, because right after you get into the room, it's super warm, and then it warms you up for like a few minutes.
Cade, what's your favorite Fantasyland ride?
Oh, hands down, it's Alice. Yeah, when I was little, I used to be scared of a certain scene in Alice, but who wasn't? Little kids don't like being yelled at. But still, it's a hands down a good attraction with good theming, and plus going above and seeing a good view of Fantasyland.
Yeah, it gives so much kinetic energy to the area, and you get to see the Matterhorn and the teacups. But the crown jewel of Fantasyland, besides the castle and the little rides, has to be It's a Small World. Matterhorn's great. I mean, it's there it is. Yeah,
But that's
right.
between two lands, if you want to think about it.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
but it's a small world, guys.
Ooh.
It's a
My
world of
favorite.
wonder. It's a world of fears. It's a world of hope. And a world
Of something else.
of I wish I had the
I
lyrics.
always get that part.
It's a small wood after all.
It is a small world after all. And before we jump into our final land on the Disneyland map that we'll be talking about today, this story is probably one of the funniest Disney experiences we all experienced. And I will be telling it, and then you guys can chime in.
Okay.
Because it involves all of it.
We have three parts. We have three parts of the story.
Three sides of the story, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Cade's wonderful wife, Maya, loathes the haunted mansion. Loathes It's a Small World. It is the pinnacle of her least favorite. She hates it. She has a strong hatred of
And
It's
it's not,
a Small
I don't
World.
think it's the ride, it's mainly the song.
It's mainly the song, okay? So when we were planning this Disneyland trip, I was persistent. I said, there is a ride that we all have to ride as a family. There's no if, buts, whats, or whens. No skips. It's a Small World holiday. It was the holiday version. And I hadn't done this in it was maybe 10 years since we had done the holiday version of that ride.
Yeah.
And I was like, it doesn't have the actual song. And so I was telling Kate's now wife, I was like, it's just Christmas songs. It's fine. We're all gonna write it together. It's gonna be a good time, right, as a family. And so we get
That's what Mom said too.
Yeah, mom was even like she was definitely pushing it. She gets on this ride. So how many was there? So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There was 9 of us.
And
Plus an Asian family.
Hey,
plus an Asian family.
Yeah. And so we get to the line and we're like, so how do you have? And we're like, a 9. And so they put us on the It's a Small World boat in the first 3 or first 2 rows?
Yes, and the pretty much back row was that other family.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so
And the first rows were
we're hearing the fun little.
No, say the layout. Say the layout of the boat, how we sat.
I don't remember the layout directly.
I remember. The 3 heaviest people, me, my wife, and my dad.
Oh.
And then it went Cade. It went Cade, Mom, and Maya. And then I think it was you, Coley, Kelsey, and McKenna.
Yeah.
So that boat was leaning certain ways.
It definitely was nosediving down into the water. And so when we're going through, we're not even in the building yet. And our boat gets untracked because of how heavy it is.
We was at the entrance to get into the building.
Yeah. To the point where you can hear the singing, and we're sitting there. And we hear the Christmas song, but then the wonderful lyrics begin. And I could feel the heat, the steam coming out this girl's eyes and ears, and it's like a cartoon character.
And then
she was so mad.
And then it's when it stopped.
It stopped, and we waited for about 15 minutes before a cast member came.
Pulled out me, my wife, and my dad, and the Asian family off. And we're walking back, and everyone was like, "What happened? What's happening?" We're like, we're too big for the boat.
There was the The walk of shame. That's what that.
And then you finish. You start this part because I have something. I have a part that gets funny to say at the end.
Okay. So, It's a Small World is a pretty slow moving boat ride, but this time around, it was even slower. And it was probably the longest ride of It's a Small World I'd ever had. And it was like our boat was like the leader of the boats, just traveling along the world, hearing the wonderful songs overlaid with the jingle bells. But it was the fact that It's a Small World played, and it was quite the experience. Okay, Cam, jump back in.
So right after we got off the boats and we're walking to it, my father bonked his head on the little bridge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He did, and then we got back on the line. I think the Asian family rode with us still, but we got put in the back. I think it was, and the whole time,
No, I think it was the middle to balance it out.
Yeah, it was me. In the middle of like people kept while we're waiting, like, what happened? Why the light stops up? Like, that was us. And then we're on the boat and stuff. We're going through, and right after we got into like the Canadian section, I think this is like when you guys just got off and stuff. Mom called Dad screaming, saying, "Maya is losing her crap right now." And so that's pretty sure what Dad did is he just put it up on his phone. He's kept the phone running, and we're just laughing, joking around, having fun. And yeah, when you edit this, you should add the photo. I have to find it. But when we're going out of the It's a Small One, me just sitting like back, relaxed with my wife, and we're just laughing our heads off.
Moral of the story: you need to be nice to everybody.
This weekend and wide too.
It's a small world after all.
Wait, Cade, what were you saying?
Oh, I was saying, like, we were actually in, and she was livid. Like, she was not happy.
And you were the one that had to deal with it for the rest of the day.
I know.
Bless your heart. All right, we're going to move into our last land that we'll be talking about before we end. This is going to be probably a little bit of a longer episode, but that's okay. It's been fun. But Tomorrowland. I think Tomorrowland is probably the worst land in Disneyland Park. And if you agree with me, chime in. But the greatness that is Tomorrowland is the ideas of Tomorrowland. But Space Mountain is wonderful. I love Space Mountain. I'll ride that thing over and over again if I can. I love Star Tours. I love Buzz Lightyear. But yeah, we'll probably have to talk about Tomorrowland as a whole in its own episode.
We should do separate episodes on each land next.
Yeah,
and maybe ideas that we have for each land. But Cam, what's your thoughts?
I love Tomorrowland to a point. I like Space Mountain. I have a story to tell on that when we go into a whole Tomorrowland episode. And I have stories about all things. But the only thing that makes me never want to go and step foot into Tomorrowland ever again is those stupid submarines. I bloody hate those submarines.
I actually have a story when we do the Tomorrowland video.
Yeah, we'll bring you back for that one.
Okay. Well, Kade, do you have any thoughts of Tomorrowland before we close out this episode?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a land that definitely needs some TLC. And hope for goodness they bring back the People Mover. I feel like that'll bring a lot of people to that land again. And my favorite thing is going on Buzz Lightyear as a family and getting very competitive.
I agree. I am currently still the best at Buzz because that is my ride. I'm pretty good at it and I know how to play.
I'm great at the tiki room, eating all those dough whips.
You contradict yourself, Cam.
He does.
What do you mean?
You just said I can't have Duluth because I'm allergic.
Oh, I eat it anyways. I said I'll eat it no matter what. If someone gives it to me, I'll eat it.
Okay.
He
It's
did say that.
okay. I think I missed that. Well, it's been fun. I had a good time. We'll have to
Yeah.
definitely finish off with the other two lands, and I think instead of making a video of just those two lands, we'll probably make a video of Galaxy's Edge and then a video of Toontown, and then we'll do other lands as well. But I want to also do other episodes of the podcast where we talk about other things of Disneyland, like what's our favorite food, or like mentioned, the best rides to ride at night, or the best rides to rope drop. And also
top.
Or the best sequence of Disney.
Yeah, but there's also Disney California Adventure, and there's a lot of things we could talk about there too.
And downtown Disney.
Eh,
I might make a video for that channel just about downtown Disney.
go ahead. But I appreciate the both of you for being on the podcast.
I'm just happy to be included for this
Yeah,
one.
I'm glad you were included too. Before I sign off, I just want to let everyone know this podcast is on YouTube and on Spotify now. So go check it out. Go give it a like. Please rate it 5 stars. And if you can, please subscribe to Colton's E-Ticket Adventures, where we'll have videos about Disney related things. And yeah. What else? Does anyone else have any final words before I end this wonderful episode?
Yes, there will be more videos coming to the channel that is based like just video, not podcast, based on the YouTube channel that you'll be making, Colton, and I'll be making. So we'll get those come out a couple times a month videos.
Yep.
And try to do a podcast every week or a couple times a month.
Yep. Kade, any thoughts for you?
Oh, I was gonna say I started videos on my channel. Like I've been doing different type of videos. Like so far, I posted 2 AI created songs. So I'm just gonna say check those out at Kadison 321.
All righty. And yep, so please like, subscribe. Also check out my other channel, Empty Popcorn Bucket Productions. And then have
Check
a
out the
wonderful
Vince
day.
Protagonist. And also check out the Vince Protagonist.
Oh yeah,
and
check
have a nice
out.
day.
Yep. Okay. Actually, have a magical day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And I am recording. Stop now.